the music world stood still. A young star, Mohbad, was gone. His death was shrouded in mystery. Whispers and speculations filled the void. Fans grappled with the news, their grief tinged with disbelief. The circumstances surrounding his demise were unusual. The official narrative seemed incomplete. Something didn't add up. The public demanded answers, seeking solace in understanding. Mohbad's story was one of talent and promise, tragically cut short. He was a rising star in the Nigerian music scene. His lyrics resonated with millions. They spoke of struggle, hope, and the realities of life. His untimely death sparked outrage and a thirst for justice. The autopsy report, eagerly awaited, was expected to provide clarity. It held the key to unraveling the truth behind the tragedy. The report, however, only deepened the mystery. It revealed unexpected findings, raising more questions than answers. The world waited with bated breath. What really happened to Mohbad?
The conversation.
All right, good evening, Daddy Freeze and everybody.
Good evening, sir. Please introduce yourself and tell us your field of study.
I'm Dr. Afinowi Ademitoro Olalekun, a medical doctor. I also have a master's in public health. And to make this very simple, I schooled in Lasuth, the same place that autopsy was done. I would also like to give you a disclaimer. I'm not a pathologist. And being a doctor, if I share a bit of the training, you understand, I could talk maybe in the absence of a pathologist. And when it comes to forensic pathology, this is one of my strengths in medical school. So there's a professor in Lasuth. His name is Professor John Oladapo Obafunwa. I was a student, and he's a trained forensic pathologist. So for whatever anybody is saying about you don't believe what is happening in Nigeria, I don't think that matters here, because this professor was brought from Nebraska, US, in the United States of America. And as a matter of fact, what we do in Lasuth is the best you have in Nigeria. So it's not cock and bull story. And also, let me take you back to the history of autopsy worldwide. Autopsy before now was done with inspection. The medical examiner would just observe the body and go. Before development started and they started to cut open the body. Now, for this case, for an autopsy to have been done, this is a case of exhumed body autopsy. But before I go there, every organ of the body would be cut open and sliced. They will be examined grossly.
And a sample taken.
And be examined histologically. So you understand. And before they are even cut open, there's a physical examination that is done. You look at the body from head to toe to check for marks and for those things. There's a lot a doctor will pick from observation. In the training of a doctor, inspection, you could diagnose the patient just from inspection. A lot of people who don't know about medicine, stethoscope is the last thing a doctor carries, because the order is inspection, palpation, percussion, and auscultation. At that level of auscultating, we are already done with everything. It's just to probably confirm anything. So now, all the organs must have been sliced, including the brain. If it's the same Lasuth I trained, we will saw open the skull and bring out the brain and slice it open and check for any gross abnormality. Aside that, they must have taken autopsy histology samples. So now, during the course of this life, I went to check the reports. They said that there was what's it called? Antihistamine found in the blood, in the body, antihistamine, and it's not suggestive that it could have caused death. But there was drugs. Now, it did not say there was opioids in the blood or in the tissue. So, and I think I also read that they saw some, the particular part of the arm showed abnormality. Again, let me also bring you to the process of forensic pathology. time says that when a body dies, and people who are saying a dead, you can autopsy is based on true. Well, you can do autopsy in the early time of death.
In the time of pie, no vex because of Instagram issues. Just say pie.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's what you call exhumed body autopsy. If somebody pie or died pie about 10 years ago, we can still carry out an autopsy.
The autopsy report painted a complex picture. It was a narrative written in the language of anatomy and pathology. Mohbad's body bore witness to a series of events. The report indicated the presence of diphenhydramine. An unexplained laceration on Mohbad's forearm suggested a struggle. Forensic experts meticulously analyzed the evidence, their goal to piece together the final moments of Mohbad's life. The quest for truth faced a formidable obstacle time. Mohbad was buried swiftly according to Islamic customs. This presented a challenge for forensic investigators. The ideal scenario for a comprehensive autopsy is soon after death. This allows for the most accurate analysis of tissues and fluids. However, in this case, the time lapse between death and the autopsy was significant. This delay potentially compromised the integrity of the evidence. The quick burial, while culturally significant, posed limitations. It restricted the scope of the forensic examination. Certain procedures, such as exhumation, are considered taboo. This further complicated efforts to gather conclusive evidence. The forensic team had to navigate these sensitivities with respect. They were acutely aware of the cultural and religious implications of their work. Despite these hurdles, the team remained committed to uncovering the truth. They meticulously analyzed the available evidence. They consulted with experts across various disciplines. Their aim was to ensure that no stone was left unturned in the pursuit of justice for Mohbad. The autopsy report, while insightful, fell short of providing definitive answers. It offered glimpses into Mohbad's final moments. However, it left many questions unanswered. The presence of diphenhydramine remained unexplained. Was it ingested intentionally, accidentally, or administered by someone else? The forearm injury added another layer of complexity. Was it self-inflicted, a result of an accident, or a sign of foul play? The report's ambiguity fueled speculation. It did little to quell the rumors surrounding Mohbad's death. The public grappled with the findings, seeking closure and justice. The mystery of Mohbad's untimely demise endured. His music continued to resonate with millions. The investigation remained open. Authorities vowed to pursue every lead, no matter how small. The hope was that one day the truth would surface. Until then, Mohbad's fans, friends, and family were left with a void. It was a void filled with grief, unanswered questions, and a longing for justice. May the soul of Mohbad rest in peace. Please subscribe and like the video.
We've got a doctor here, if I am correct. Doctor.
Dr. Frizz, good evening.
Good evening. Are you a medical doctor?
No, I'm a PhD.
PhD in?
So, BSc Biochemistry, MSc Molecular Biology, PhD Translational Neuroscience in Molecular Neuroscience. Just as a caveat, I'm not a trained pathologist. Okay, that's why I had to read out my qualifications into the body. Now, like I did a caveat initially, I said I'm not a pathologist, right? So I did a quick look at the document online. When you look at the document online, they sort of highlights the areas they looked at. So I'm just going to pull it up just a minute. Then I'll speak to some of the areas that they sort of highlighted, basically.
Okay.
So I hope you can hear me now.
Yes.
So here they sort of looked at samples retained for histology. So histology basically
means more investigation.
Tissues, tissue samples. So histology is a study of tissue. Okay, so they picked the heart, lungs, liver, spleen, adrenal, the pancreas, and the kidney. So in terms of the heart, for instance, they said the histological section shows moderate to severe autolysis. So autolysis, auto, for instance, in Nigerians, drive automatic cars, so it means automatic. Autolysis means breakdown. So it means that autolysis, so the heart was already breaking down already. Let me use the word decomposing.
Decomposing,
Down.
putrefying.
Yes, So they said it was moderate to severe. Okay, so that's what they wrote there. And the same result was also projected for the lungs. Also, for lungs, they mentioned moderate to severe autolysis, and just like that in all of the tissues I referred to initially. Now, I think they also highlighted. So what I'm saying, these are not my words. I'm looking at the report that is online, which everyone has privy to. So I think they also highlighted some medications they saw when it comes to. So in the medication, they use something called I think LCMC. So those are mass spectrometer. So you use those sort of instruments to analyze compounds. So I'm going to explain to you how that works, for instance. So if I'm trying to, say for instance, I took paracetamol this evening, for instance, and you want to know the quantity of paracetamol in my system, you could actually take a sample, and any form of sample, for instance, you homogenize that, and you run it through the mass spec. So what you need to do is you need to then compare that with a standard. So how do I explain this now? So if you want to know, for instance, if you want to know if there's black substance in my body, for instance, you need to have a reference standard. I don't know how to put that in layman terms.
Reference standard meaning is what it was like before and now what it is like now.
Exactly, so that when you see it, you can recognize it. Okay, so you run so you could call it a control, for instance. So I think in the report they mentioned that they saw I think antihistamine. And if I'm correct, I think antihistamine is a medication for fever, malaria, and those kind of stuff. And maybe this particular individual, I'm not going to mention any name, for instance. So maybe this particular individual was on that particular medication because maybe they were
antihistamines are more of like Piriton.
Yeah.
They are more of allergy remedies.
Yes. You're right. So,
not malaria.
Yeah, thanks for that. So they sort of mentioned that. I think they also mentioned daphenel. I can't pull out that stuff now.
Let me go and look for the report so I can have it.
So they mentioned those medications, but what you need to look at, I don't have this information readily available right now. So what you need to compare is the dose that was mentioned. So if you can pull up the report, you could quickly check online. So what you need to check is this. I think I saw that document yesterday, and I was able to see those, but I can't see it right now on Twitter. So what you need to do is, if you can pull up that report again, look at the dose they mentioned. So there's a dose there, gram per something. So they mentioned the amount. So that is the dose. So what you need to do is to compare that dose that was detected to what is an overdose or what is the recommended dose. So if the dose that was detected is not high enough to be lethal, then you can say, okay, this has no effect, right? So it depends on the level of dose that is able to bring about, the pain that you are saying sense. Okay, so if the dose that was detected is not at that particular threshold to bring about the pain that you're referring to, then you may easily rule out those sort of medications that were found in the system. Now,